And welcome! Welcome, pop culture fans. This is the officially unofficial geek channel. What's happening Wednesday?
What is happening?
We weren't here last couple weeks.
No, but I got stoned.
Joe is stoned right now. And very upset with Taco Bell.
Goddamn motherfucking Taco Bell.
We are very upset with Taco Bell.
Always get our order wrong.
Hashtag not a sponsor. So there's a particular Taco Bell.
You know what? I don't even want to talk about it.
Are you that angry?
I'm just going to wallow in my no burrito anger.
You are that upset. No, it's not even that. That burrito that's sitting in the kitchen right now is probably totally yours.
Alright.
It's they messed up in providing my potato item.
They always mess everything up.
It's always my part of the fucking meal, too.
Always hers.
Like, they add shit I don't want. Okay, so we're
What's on the agenda for this week?
What are we going to talk about? What have we been doing? Joe, you finished recently a trilogy.
Trilogy?
The Bridget.
Oh, I finished the Bridget Jones trilogy, and you know what? That is the trilogy now. That is the trilogy over Star Wars and everything. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it's really funny. Those are funny movies.
What? So we're talking, of course, of Bridget Jones' Diary series, starring Renee Zellweger, Bridget Jones' Diary, Bridget Jones' Edge of Reason, and
Bridget Jones'
the baby.
Which you know what? Now I think about it, might be my favorite one because it was pretty funny.
Yeah, the baby one is pretty fucking funny. I was actually going to ask you, which was your favorite?
The second one, when she goes to prison, is hilarious.
Okay, she's teaching the girls in the prison like a virgin.
Yeah.
The thing is it's really funny.
I like them.
Yeah, and so if you recall, like a while back, we were doing the Cruel Summer movie binge thing, where I had him watch Bridget Jones' Diary. Because we thought he would hate it.
And I had to finish the trilogy.
And he ended up liking it so much that when he found out there were 2 other films, he had to watch them.
Just like with, Dirty Dancing. Now I have to watch Havana Nights at some point. I have to.
Okay. Joe has also been working his way through Vampire Diaries.
I have, man. I'm on some stuff right now that I never thought I'd be on. I'm on it.
He's on it. So we'll talk. Let's talk about Vampire Diaries for a second, because this is something that you have been watching very regularly.
Yeah, I watch it. I at least watch an episode a day. Today I jammed.
You binged 2 episodes in today.
And I might watch another one actually.
You know what? I am on tap for that. I am ready. So we've reached the point where we have been introduced to at least 3 originals.
Yeah.
So if you are familiar with the series,
maybe 4. One's still kind of.
One is still deadish. If you've watched the Vampire Diaries and you've gotten to season 3, you know about the originals. The originals being the original vampires that started it all, and it's still, a lot of them are still kind of wrapped up in this whole mystery. Which Joe has been unwrapping present by present like it's fucking Christmas morning.
I'm getting it, man. I'm going there.
And enjoying every moment, I think. He has a show crush. Would you like to talk about your show crush?
Bonnie
the witch.
Bonnie the witch.
Bonnie the badass witch. Bonnie Bennett. Joe loves
Damon
the witchy.
Damon is also really handsome and charming. I mean, if we're going to talk about it.
If your guy crush is Damon?
Yeah, I hated him at first, but now I'm like, you know what, I like him. I don't like Stefan at all. Like, even when he's being good, I think he's kind of a chode.
Yeah, kind of pompous.
Yeah.
Yeah, self-righteous, pompous.
He's kind of a self-righteous ass.
I love Damon. I've always loved Damon. Damon is my favorite. But I gotta tell you, like, I liked the topsy-turviness that gets brought into the show by the originals.
Man, these guys are crazy.
Yeah. So the last episode that we watched is the one where Catherine and Jeremy have found the tomb of the original vampire hunter, Michael. Michael. And he's all chained up. That's the last thing that we saw. He's all chained up. They have discovered that they don't have to kill Elena. In fact, it's probably a pretty gosh darn cool idea that she's alive. Because Klaus can make his hybrid werewolf vampires with her blood. And if she was dead, he wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. That's, man.
So they kind of outsmarted the original witch that way.
His mom.
Yeah, but you haven't met his mom yet. That was a spoiler I gave you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, guys.
Spoiler alert. I think Joe went into this thinking it was just going to be some dramatic teen drama, which it is.
Which it is. I thought it was going to be more Twilight than...
More Twilight than rawr, vampire.
Yeah, the vampires are actually monsters.
Yeah. You do have, moody and tortured vampires.
Yes.
Because
let's get this clear. It's a stupid show, but I like stupid things.
It's not stupid.
It's a little... it's cheesy, is what I'm trying to say.
It's cheesy. We can say cheesy. But it's not stupid. If you like it, it's not stupid. It's like one of those things where,
stupid things.
Like the other thing you started watching.
Oh, no.
Guys.
Catfish. Holy crap.
Joe didn't know what a catfish was. Okay, so let's preface this with...
I know you can eat it and they're good.
He didn't know what a catfish was other than, the obvious, actual fish. He knows the actual fish. He's ate it in front of me. Enjoyed it.
Love Catfish.
Yeah. But we're talking about the show Catfish from MTV. So we have been kind of perusing different streaming cable outlets. And I recently, after having not watched it for years, started watching Catfish again when I saw it was on one night. And Joe happened to catch some of it with me, and now he's like, what is this? Why am I obsessed?
I don't know. It's such a stupid show, but it's like, these people are so mean, some of them. Oh my god.
Yeah, we've seen some mean ones. And guys, if you are a Catfish fan and you are wondering if Joe has seen the infamous Marengo episode.
That's where I used to live.
That's where he used to live. The one that takes place, if you're in the Chicago, Illinois area, the infamous Marengo, Illinois / Woodstock, Illinois episode. He has seen about 5 minutes of it.
I've seen a little clip of it. Holy crap.
He's seen about 5 minutes of it, and I have just guaranteed, I just guaranteed earlier today, it is on Hulu.
Oh boy.
That episode is on Hulu. # not a sponsor. But that is a killer episode, and I remember watching it when it debuted with Liz, with my friend Liz. So, remember us thinking, like, what the hell are we watching? But I was surprised that Catfish even still existed. I thought there's got to be nobody trying to pull this shit still.
Man, it's the internet. People try to pull all sorts of shit.
Okay, wait. I just realized that I may have not explained what it is to be a catfish. So if you don't know, if you're like Joe and you did not know until like yesterday what catfish is, catfish is basically when you take pictures and other stuff and you make up a fake profile. It is not you, and you pretend to be somebody else. You're not on the internet, and you engage in relationships with people fully on the internet, and they have no idea who you are actually like. I didn't even realize that this was still going on. Apparently it is.
Man, yeah, you hear about old people getting fucking catfished all the time.
Well, like scams and stuff, not like, like, oh, I want to marry you kind of crap.
Not that, but scams to get their money.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a different thing.
Another thing we're not so patiently awaiting is the release of a new Dragonlance book.
Oh my god, guys, you don't even fucking know. Ever since I remember that this is coming out, my love for Dragonlance has come back full force. Dragonlance used to be my jam back in the day. Probably something I loved more than Star Wars. Like, it is, like, my fantasy. Like, people love, like they love, their Middle Earth and stuff like that. This was my Middle Earth. This was where I loved it. I love D&D. Oh my god, I'm just, like, so psyched for this book.
So now, like, we share on our TVs a YouTube connection.
I made her YouTube all Dungeons and Dragons.
And which is not even that big of a deal because I used to be heavy into it too. And really it's one of those things where it's like, there's a part of me that would love to just, try to carve in some time and go back and be a badass paladin or
I wish we had somebody to play this.
Or Dragon Disciple.
Always you and your dragons.
I love dragons.
I love dragons too when I'm fighting them.
I love dragons when I get to be one.
I want to be a brave knight next time.
If you are at all
Lawful good.
If you are at all familiar, so like basically a paladin. Yeah. You want to be a lawful good paladin.
Yes.
Those can be badass as well.
They can.
And
it's not something I usually play though.
That's my two favorite groups are lawful good paladins and chaotic good magic users.
I played back in the day in the Dragonlance. They're called Knights of Takesis, which are the lawful evil paladins. Mm-hmm. I love those guys too. The thing is like a lot of people when they play D&D, they're fulfilling fantasies. Mm-hmm. Because you are making a character and you are becoming a character, and you sometimes become attached to that character. There was a couple characters I became attached to back in the day, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked my my barbarian Barbie that I paid.
Oh my god!
She was awesome.
Frey.
Yes.
Frey was the first one that you played with me.
Yeah.
With.
I love that barbarian.
Yes. So Joe is one of these guys that plays women characters sometimes, and he played a barbarian, a female barbarian, because
God, I kept it. I wonder where that is. Somewhere over there.
Like you kept the sheets?
Yep, I kept the sheet.
Man.
I liked it.
I actually think I might have a copy of the sheets as well somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah. So people, have these, fantasies that they play out and everything like that involving D&D and for me, like my first character was a chaotic good sorcerer, because I started out in a lower level. I couldn't be a dragon disciple yet. So, and I didn't even know. It was my first time ever playing. And they're like, B and Sven, I lived with them and you ended up living with them too. And they, two of some of the finest DMs.
Dude, no joke.
If you...
That whole group of people had awesome DMs.
Heinz was a fantastic DM.
Was fun.
Let me tell you, John. Remember John?
John was good too, yeah.
Yeah. Tim's fantastic.
Awesome
yeah, everybody, I ended up falling into a group, and I literally kind of just fell into it, was because I was renting a room from Bridget and Sven, married couple, family, where I used to live in Elgin. And that first week I lived there came Saturday evening, and they're like, oh, okay, it's Saturday afternoon, and they're like, okay, so here's the thing, you're invited and it's cool, but we are having game. And I was like, okay, so what's the deal with that? And they're like, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, okay, well, I've never played it before, and I've got nothing else going on, so why the hell not? And so they're like, well, we'll have to roll a character for you. And
oh, that's so much fun.
So my first character was not a point spy, which is another way that you can develop a character. But my first character, 3.5, Dungeons and Dragons,
you
was...
You guys started with 3.5?
Yes, we did.
That's awesome.
Yeah. 3.5 is where I built my...
You jump right into Pathfinder with that.
Yes. Which is basically what we did. We spent a good deal of time playing 3.5. And then we went and we did Pathfinder. And I started out, it was, like I said, chaotic good sorcerer. I asked, can I blow stuff up? And they were like, you would like to be a sorcerer then. And they, guided me, were my guides, my guides through Dungeons and Dragons, through Wizards and Dragons. Remember how they used to have that big cabinet of all the dragons?
Oh my god, yes. Awesome shit, dude. These people had some rad shit, man.
Yeah,
every role-playing game known to man you could play with.
Everything known to man. Like,
you want to play the Ninja Turtles role-playing game? He had it. No kidding. You
want to play a couple different versions of the Star Wars game? He had them. Dude. Like, you want to play White Box?
Oh, yeah.
He had it. You want to play...
Red Box?
Red Box?
Yeah, Red Box, too.
He had it. Walking, talking encyclopedias of, in particular, Dungeons and Dragons and Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. Like, Vampire Masquerade had it. Had all that stuff. They were also avid video gamers.
Yeah.
And
playing freaking Elder Scroll.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, B playing playing Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim.
Oh man. And their kids were also avid gamers.
I miss those people.
Yeah, we love them. We see them every so often. They moved to another state. They're doing good, but we see them every so often. They actually, for being the avid gamers that they are, they keep on gaming. They keep on doing their thing there, and I don't know. Maybe they'll hear this and they'll hear us talking about them and yeah, but yeah. I remember I said I wanted to blow stuff up, so they're like, okay, chaotic good sorcerer.
That's a good alignment for blowing stuff up.
Yeah, Ursula Noir, who eventually ended up. There was a little bit of gameplay where Ursula was cursed with a red dragon fang. And she kind of went all chaotic evil. Because red dragons...
cursed with a dragon fang?
Well, it was worked into the story by the DM, Todd, that... because I kept on wanting to blow stuff up, he's like, well, why not? What would happen basically if we, something, I forget exactly how it was done, but I was somehow miraculously, magically had a red fang tooth implanted into me. And
just come out of your mouth?
Yeah, and I started getting, more chaotic, more evil. And eventually, they had to work as a team to get it out of me because I was going to blow up a jewelry store because they wouldn't help us.
Take you to the dentist.
So at that point, it was we were close to a moment we were going to level up. And Sven and B were like, why don't we he wants to turn you into a dragon, why don't we turn you into a dragon? And I started taking levels of Dragon Disciple. And he's like, but they were like, but this time you get to control which dragon you want. And that's when I picked my love in the dragon world, the brass dragon.
Nice.
And it's always the dragon disciple. It's always brass dragon when I do a dragon disciple for my character. But paladins, loved playing paladins.
Paladins are hard to play for me sometimes. 'Cause I can't think lawful good.
The thing is
I usually play chaotic good and chaotic neutral characters.
I would love to be chaotic good in life, but I know everyone that knows me personally knows I am not chaotic in life.
No.
I am not chaotic good in life. Some things might drive me to the point of being chaotic good. But for the most part, I am a lawful good person.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Know thyself. Know thyself. Know that I have a burning heart and a bleeding heart. I might get slightly chaotic for some things, but
chaotic nature has made you yell at me a few times.
My chaotic nature sometimes scares Joe when he has seen it. But like me almost getting into arguments in the middle of the supermarket with people. Me, wanting to go and stand up for somebody getting bullied, that kind of thing. We have no idea, who they are. You've seen that a couple times with me. But for the most part, I am a lawful good person. And I have had the pleasure of playing paladins in a environment that they thrived in with the people I played with. So getting that Holy Avenger was one of I had a Holy Avenger sword, and if you've ever played D&D, for a paladin it's a pretty big deal to have a divinely charged Holy Avenger.
I don't know if you'd like playing in Dragonlance in the first part of the era that you play in, because there's no powers. Like, you can be a mage and have powers, but there's no. You can be a paladin, but you don't have powers because there's no gods. The gods left.
Wow.
There's no healing.
That'd be
magic.
Rough.
There's no healing magic. There's nothing. There's people trying to prove that the gods.
Is there healing alchemy though, like with potions and stuff?
People like.
Because there's a difference.
And stuff.
Yeah.
There is alchemy, yes.
Yeah. Because there's a difference. There's the idea of a healing cleric or druid that has the ability, magic wise to heal, but then there's also, if you don't have one of those, carry some healing potions, and
first, there's nothing. You can be a cleric and
it's pointless
until you find your god.
Damn. So you just go searching for your goddamn god, and hopefully you find them.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are doing, trying to find the gods. It's kind of,
that's rough. It's like the Wild West.
The gods threw a mountain on the freaking planet and said, "We're done, dude. Peace."
So basically, it was like, the gods were sitting at a table playing Monopoly. It had gotten to the point where the game was just going on, and finally the gods just flipped the table and said, "Fuck this game."
Fuck that, man. Fuck the whole world up.
Okay, so the gods flipped the table and walked out.
Maybe not 300 years, 400 years.
Damn.
Long time where they're now a myth.
Well, I mean, isn't that kind of how things are?
Yeah.
Like, gods are myths.
Not in Dungeons and Dragons. You're getting power from your god.
Well, yeah, in Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm just saying, like...
Yes, in real life, yes.
In real life, gods are myths.
Yes, exactly. There's no healing currency in real life.
Well,
I mean, you would probably come to the conclusion that gods are real if you're praying to your god that's giving you the power that you pray for.
Yeah. So why are we talking about D&D? Well, because...
I miss playing D&D so much. Like, so much. This last, week or so, or however long it's been since I remembered about Dragonlance coming back. I have just been like, man, I miss D&D so much.
Yeah. And, let's talk about segues here. I'm about ready to do a segue.
Into what?
Into the next topic.
Which is probably...
Why are we talking about D&D? Well...
Why are we?
One, Dragonlance book is coming out.
Yes.
But,
I think I know
speaking of D&D, something, pop culture-wise came out, earlier in the month that has really just taken, the imagination and the love of people in general. And it is the end of season 4 of Stranger Things.
Holy moly. That, you know what, that got me a little bit into D&D too, like that.
I'm speaking, of course, to the man that has captured all of our hearts. Eddie Munson.
Eddie.
So if you have not watched Stranger Things, and to be completely honest with you, I'm late to the Stranger Things.
You still haven't watched some of the seasons yet.
Yeah, I'm late to the Stranger Things phenomenon, guys, but I gotta tell you, I watched a great deal of this season, and I definitely watched the end, and it made me a little homesick for some D&D, you know, because you have basically in front of you in that last, spoiler alert, guys, if you have not watched Stranger Things from this point, you probably want to go and finish it and then come back so that you don't get all this spoiled for you. You'll enjoy the last part of our conversation a lot more
If you see it.
if you see what we're talking about. And you will probably still like it anyways, because we are actually going to talk about something real. But anyways, that last episode where, like, especially like near the end, like in that last, you know, 3/4 actually probably of the entire episode, you have what looks like a Dungeons and Dragons, you know, adventure.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm speaking, of course, of they're got the plan. They're going after Vecna, and the man that kind of stole all our hearts is Joseph Quinn playing Eddie Munson. Kind of just takes on the role of the bard.
Yeah, man.
Eddie Munson in the series was a character that was the DM.
He was, you know, he was what's the word I'm trying to think of here? He was something. I'm stoned. Whatever.
He was the game master.
Yeah.
You know, he was the DM of the Hellfire Club.
Misjudged. That's what.
Misjudged. Yeah. Okay. Well, because of everything going on supernatural and everything going on in Hawkins, a friend of his, Chrissy, was killed by Vecna, and he was blamed for it because he liked metal music and he played D&D and he was interested in all those things. And you have to long hair,
might have wore some
black fingernails.
I know this because I've seen an expert on the case, man.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
Oh God.
So Eddie Munson was and this is back in the 80s where you have the satanic panic.
Yep.
Of D&D and all that stuff. So he outwardly played D&D, wore t-shirts that, you know, made fun of the fact that everybody was panicking about it and everything like that. So he was very outwardly weird. Listen to Metallica, listen to metal, outwardly weird, and to possibly, you know, interested in occult things, you know. That's the way he looked. And he was accused of murdering Chrissy.
Yep.
And kind of went into hiding and on the run. And, of course, he knew that he didn't kill Chrissy. He knew that a supernatural being had done it. And, in fact, he kind of,
He didn't know what at first.
He didn't know what at first. He only knew that he liked Chrissy. And she was dead. And she died in front of him. So he's scared, you know. So in the pivotal moment in the film, he has to distract these huge bats. And he gets on top of the trailer in the Upside Down and starts playing Master of Puppets.
Pretty dope.
Yes. So Eddie Munson is a character, and a lot of people were wondering, you know, where did the inspiration for Eddie Munson come from? And so the Duffer Brothers actually was like, hey guys, here's the thing. I think our cat is like messing around with like one of the bags.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah. So anyways, sorry, cat thing. The Duffer Brothers came out and said that there was a real-life inspiration for Eddie Munson, and that it was Damien Echols. So we found this out, and I told you about it, and you had kind of heard things about the West Memphis 3.
I knew about them, I just
didn't know much about
the
case and all that.
I knew that they were free.
You knew that they were not in jail anymore.
Yes, I knew that they...
Spoiler alert.
That's 12 years ago. So.
They're not in jail anymore. So you'd heard about it, you didn't know much about it. And I was like, well, congratulations, you're going to watch 3 really heavy documentaries with me.
Ooh, boy, are they fucking heavy.
Really upsetting. Guys, let's see if we can put this in a nutshell. Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miskelly Jr. Were 3 gentlemen, 3 young men.
Well, what's the name of this documentary?
The documentaries are called Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost. The
trigger warning. Holy
child murders at Robin Hills.
They show dead bodies and stuff. So.
Oh, dead children bodies.
Yes.
So trigger warning. Trigger warning. These pictures show mutilation. Dead bodies.
Very graphic.
Very, very graphic. So if it's upsetting to you at all, please know. If images like that are upsetting to you, please know this was a documentary. And you probably don't want to watch it because
Carrie, tell me when.
There were times where, like, I had to tell Joe when he could look again, and I mean it really kind of shook you. You said you had bad dreams that first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still wanted to watch them. So.
Yeah, it's good knowledge and stuff. I mean, I could look past the dead bodies and stuff if I know when they're coming.
Yeah. So what happened is this is back in 1993, 3 young Boy Scouts, Chris Branch, oh my gosh, am I gonna blank on these names?
I don't remember.
Stephen Byers.
Yes. Chris
Branch, Michael Moore.
Yeah.
I think I got them right.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's important to talk about the victims as well.
Yeah, because the fucking police are just sitting on this shit and not fucking getting any justice for these people.
Yeah. So 3 Boy Scouts around the age of 9 and 10 basically are found, or go missing, and they are found later dead and mutilated and naked in the woods near their home. So obviously this happens in a small town, West Memphis, Arkansas. And on the heels of Satanic Panic, there's Satanic Panic run amok in this area.
It's definitely still going on.
Yeah. So right away, and when you have somebody that's mutilated, it's
mutilated in the ways they were.
Yeah, it's scary. You know, people were genuinely. This is the unthought of, unimaginable thing that happened. You know, these were kids. You know, and it was, the investigation was pretty rushed.
Yeah.
The investigation rushed to a conclusion where, based on these prejudices of Satanic Panic, not being able to understand someone that's different from you. Same kind of things that happened to Eddie. Eventually the police arrested Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Kelly Jr. based on the coerced and ill-gotten and revoked confession of a man that is basically the equivalent of a child, because he is mildly mentally handicapped.
I think they said his IQ was 72, if I remember correctly.
It's 75 or 70, something like that. I think like, if you watch the beginning of Forrest Gump, like, it's like around that marker where they're talking about Forrest Gump's IQ, and it's like around the same amount. However, they doubled down on that thing. They doubled down on the fact that some guy said that he did it, that had no understanding, and recanted it later. No understanding of what was going on.
They forced answers out of him too, like what time things happened, and he'd be like, it was in the morning, and then they're like, are you sure it's the morning and not the afternoon? It was the afternoon.
Yeah. They guided him in his coerced confession, which obviously he recanted because it was untrue. So what was the evidence they had against Damien and Jason Baldwin? It's easy to tell you what evidence they had against Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin. Because they had none.
Nothing.
They had absolutely none, except for two people lying to get attention that did not even know them, saying that they confessed to it, and they did not. There was absolutely no evidence whatsoever. None. Absolutely none. They get convicted, and on this absolutely no evidence. Jesse Kelly Jr. is basically gonna spend the rest of his life in prison. No chance for parole.
No chance for parole.
Yeah. Well, it gets aggressively worse. Okay, so you have Jesse Kelly Jr. He's tried, convicted, life plus 40. Jason Baldwin is basically, we're gonna throw away the key on him too. No chance of parole either. Life imprisonment. And then you have Damien Echols, who is considered to them to be the ringleader of the group.
Sentence death.
Sentence to death. Based on what now?
His clothing.
His musical taste.
Oh, yeah. And, wait, didn't he have some nail polish on?
Black nail polish. Musical taste. His hair. His black clothing that he always wore. The fact that he was interested in and became a Wicca. He was interested in Wicca, became a Wiccan. So the thing that really got to me when I heard about this, and I heard about this years ago, was he was sentenced to die.
Yeah.
Based on a prejudice.
So crazy. I can't imagine being sentenced to die.
Yeah.
Especially knowing you didn't do it, man. Oh my god.
Right. Well, I mean, like, just, you know, in general. Being sentenced to die, knowing you didn't do it. And this is all based off a prejudice. A whole group of people have against you. And
my favorite was their expert.
Their expert that never attended any classes. That said, you know, they're the ones who, like, they often wear black clothing and black nail polish and long hair and listen to Metallica. Well, it is basically describing Damien Echols, like, as a 17-year-old. You know, yeah. By the way, this 17-year-old was put to death. Was sentenced to death. He was not put to death, thankfully.
He's got a YouTube channel.
He's got a YouTube channel, guys. Fast forward. Spoiler alert, he has a YouTube channel. So they go to jail. And for around 20 years.
Yeah.
So around 20 years, they go to jail and
exhausted all their appeals pretty much.
And
they kept going in front of the same judge though.
What is with that? How the hell can the same judge hear the appeal of something he's already presided over, already passed judgment on, already passed a sentence on? How is that? I was telling Joe when we were watching, I was like, this is bullshit, because I work in the financial world, and basically if somebody is having problems with their loan, they can contact the servicing of that loan and try to fill out applications and do everything like that to get help. And there's different programs available. Legally, this is a legal regulation. If they jump through all the hoops and they get denied help, they can appeal that denial, but it cannot legally be looked at by the same person that did the original review. Because, well, they've already denied them. Like, that's part of the appeal process, to have somebody else with different eyes look at what you're doing. We're not laughing at the story. Our cat is being weird. It's meant to, you know, that's what...
He's got a bag on his head.
Look, there we go. I got it all for you. Oh my goodness. You got the bag on your head. You got stock. Oh my goodness. Why didn't you meow?
Because he doesn't do that.
Why didn't you meow? He said, but he still wants to play with it. He still wants to play with it. He's like, you terrorized me, but I still want to be your friend. Like...
Is that better?
Not completely. He's just playing with it now. God.
Anyway, where were we?
So these appeals all get heard by the same judge.
Yeah.
And appeal after appeal after appeal after appeal it goes nowhere, guys. And finally they get the help of DNA.
Freaking finally. Jesus. And then the judge still didn't want to fucking see them.
Well, the good news is
didn't want to enter any new evidence.
Well, what happened is that same judge ran for the Senate and got the Senate seat, so he was no longer a judge. And he wasn't going to be resigning over that. So when the question of the DNA came up, it didn't go very far in the local area, but they took that higher. And they were like, yeah, you know what? Here's the thing. You have to listen to this new evidence because it was the most damning against the case, against the boys, against these, well, not men. And so basically, it was DNA, and more than anything, pointed the finger at somebody else. And if you watch Paradise Lost, the 3 different documentaries, they definitely get into that, and they do more speaking on that person and the kids' parents and all that. And this is more about what happened to Damien than them because of Eddie Munson. We were talking about Eddie Munson here, so we end up talking about Damien. But if you are okay with all those trigger warnings, content warnings, that kind of thing, and
I realize this documentary, it's really good.
Yeah, you should know what's happening. And it's something that happened less than 50 years ago. It's something that happened. They just, eventually when the DNA evidence, came to light and everything like that, they eventually get to the point where they decided they didn't want to risk. Either side decided they didn't want to risk a new trial, because if they did the trial and they were convicted again, basically that's it for Damien. So the state offered them, and the state's also, sitting there thinking, if we do this, we might get embarrassed. So let's tell everyone we're trying to save the state taxpayers money. Instead of paying for a new trial, we're going to offer them the Alford plea. The Alford plea is basically you go into a court, you go before a judge, you plead guilty while maintaining your innocence.
Which is weird. I need to read up on that.
So all 3 of them ended up taking the Alford plea, and they all had to do it or none at all. So all 3 of them decided to do that. And basically they had to stand in front of a judge, and it is all official. They had to plead guilty while maintaining their innocence and make a statement, and then they were free men. And, the point being, if they are outside of jail, it's easier to try and prove their innocence than if they're in jail. It's also easier to try and help find out who really did this. Who really, when it comes right down to it, killed these 3 young boys. And, this shit got, attention everywhere. You had benefit albums raising money for their defense. You had one that was headed up by Henry Rollins. You had one Eddie Vedder did stuff. The Dixie Chicks, the Chicks, did stuff. You had Natalie Maines speaking on his behalf as well. A whole mess of things happened involving Natalie Maines, involving this case, that really that third part of the documentary goes into, involving the DNA evidence and something that she said and everything. Really, it is just, this whole thing is a twisty, turny interesting dive into history, court history, law, all that stuff. Just kind of watching exactly how bad a trial
they bungled it fucking all
could go, and how badly a trial with a jury of your peers could go. So here's the thing, guys. The killer has not been found. I'm going to try and locate some in the description. I'm going to try and locate for this video some sources and put some links in the notes, the show notes here for this episode. If you want to find out more information, or maybe you want to help. Obviously, you know, I'll put some of that stuff down in the description here. But I think that sometimes life imitates art, and art sometimes imitates life. And we have been sitting here as a world, a country, a world, you know, collectively in love with this character of Eddie Munson. And seeing Eddie Munson through the eyes of these characters, and Eddie Munson through the eyes of the filmmakers. And it's important that the Duffer Brothers brought up and said who this inspiration was, because just so many, you know, a couple decades ago, this guy that was the inspiration, Damien Echols, was sentenced to die for being someone that is like Eddie Munson. So guys, here's the thing. I think it's important that when stories like this come up, where art imitates life, do a Google search. Find out who these people are. At least, you don't have to dive as deep as Joe and I do, because we're weird and all that stuff interests us. But like, I urge you all to at least do something like that. You know what I mean? You get what I mean, Joe?
I get what you mean.
Yeah, like, because there are real people out there and real circumstances of people. What if Damien Echols was loved as much as Eddie Munson before he sat on death row for so many years? What if somebody actually was like, no, you know what? It doesn't fucking matter that Damien Echols wore all black and loved Metallica. He didn't commit these crimes.
Actually, that's what happened. That's how he got out.
It's because people, you know...
From the beginning, there was people like that.
Yeah.
My favorite is the one dad that was a complete asshole.
Oh, yeah.
He just turns around, he's like, no, these kids are...
By the third film, he was like...
Yeah, he was, like...
Yeah.
Totally on board. Like, free the West Memphis 3.
Byers.
Like, yeah, like, holy crap. That guy, wow.
May he rest in peace.
Oh, that's right. Rest in peace, dude. If you're there, you're with your guy now. And your kid.
And your wife.
And your wife.
Yeah. It's such a tragic story.
God, now that I think about it, Jesus, man, what a tragic story.
Yeah.
That whole family just gone.
Yeah, Byers, you know, by the third film had the free the West Memphis 3 sticker on the back of his truck, where the previous film he was burning effigies to them. Yeah, seriously, guys, crazy
you
films.
He turned around, but then I didn't realize he turned around so much where he's going to frickin'
Yeah, I kind of spoiled that a little bit for you.
And he's going to rallies and shit to fucking free these kids.
Yeah, he's just like, you know, and he's sitting there on the day that they were, you know, they gave the Alpha plea. He's like, this is not justice. They didn't kill anyone. Yeah, which it is. It's not justice. They didn't kill anyone. But yeah, it's important to show your freaks some love. They're just regular people. Just because somebody wears black doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Just because somebody has black nail polish doesn't mean that they're weird. Means that they just like the color. But I thought about, you know, when I first heard about this, you know, thinking about who I was at that age. Wearing black nail polish, eyeliner. You know, being the resident weirdo that was interested in occult shit.
You probably see me with at age, how old were they? Like 18, 19, and I had a mohawk and
right?
shirt on, probably.
Yeah.
Playing D&D.
Right? So when I first heard about it, which was years ago, that was really something that like struck me, was that it could have been me. We are all in some way Eddie Munson. And a lot of us are probably in some ways Damien Echols. And just be kind.
Be kind. Let's end it there. On be kind.
Just be kind, guys. But anyways, let me know what, if you've looked into this at all, let me know what you thought of Stranger Things and that epic guitar solo.
Let me know if you're a Dragonlance fan, because I want to be your friend.
Joe would like to know if you're a Dragonlance fan.
I want more Dragonlance friends.
Tell us, have you played D&D? Did you play D&D too? And what was your favorite race, class?
Favorite race, man. Kender, all day. Dragonlance, recognize.
Tell us in the comments. Let us know what you think. Guys, as always, I'm going to be back this Sunday with my show. I haven't decided if I'm going to be live or not, but I got a lot of comics to talk about.
Yeah, ton.
And,
you got a ton of comics to read.
I still got a ton of comics to read, yes.
I still gotta go pick up Harley.
Oh, I still gotta pick up some comics.
Yeah.
Jeez. Golly gee willikers. Okay, anyways, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Share, comment. Let us know what you think. Tell us about your D&D experiences. And that's it for us. This has been the officially unofficial Geek Channel What's Happening Wednesday with Joe and Carrie. And we'll be seeing you guys.
Bye.
Bye.